So it's all fun and exciting, but it's still a lot of stuff coming in, and there's always like certain targets and people and things that I want to hit and reach out to and get. And yeah, that's when the work begins. So I feel like I can't really relax until all the campaigns are over.
Sure. Hey,
Hi.
Natalie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I don't know if you remember, we chatted in like in August or something of last year.
Yeah, of course I remember. Of course. Hi, how have you been? You been good?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Are you in a gym? Where are you?
No, I'm in a theatre actually. I'm part of a show that's going on. So I've just come out to do this. Yeah, is it really echoey? Do you want me to go somewhere else?
No, it's fine. I just didn't want to be interfering with your day if you're.
Oh, no. This is what I want to do. This is the best part of the day.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Awesome. Well, so you obviously know how the show goes. It's about you and your journey in music. We got your story before, but I would love if you could recap it a bit and I have follow-up questions. And last time I talked to you, you had just released Medicine Boy, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And so now you have the EP out. We were talking about you hadn't really discussed much about, and now that's out. And obviously Heaven, I was listening to that song earlier, and I can't wait to the video. I think comes out on Friday. Is that what I saw?
Thursday.
Okay, my days are off.
Yeah.
6th.
So good.
Yeah. Okay, it's the 4th.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, okay.
Cool.
So tell me, you born and raised in North London? Is that what I remember?
Yes, North London. That is the one. I still
live there. Talk to me about that.
It's good. Like, I feel like living in London, I'm very lucky. Like, most of the people that do what I do, like around me, like other artists, the ones that aren't from London, they've moved to London to do music. So I recognize how grateful I am to just be here anyway. So yeah.
And you started off like on classical guitar, is that what I remember?
That's right. Yeah, I've been playing classical guitar since I was 5. So I kind of did that because when you learn an instrument in a school here, you have to learn or in my school anyway, you had to learn a classical instrument. You couldn't just learn like chords for fun. So I learned classical guitar because my dad really wanted me to play guitar. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I was all right at it. I didn't, obviously, as soon as I started doing like the songwriting thing, I was like, I'll buy classical guitar. I stopped doing that.
Oh, really?
So
yeah. Can you still play? I'm sure you can still do the finger picking.
Yeah, I can still play. Like I'm probably still, if I practiced it, I could get back to the level I was at. It's just, I guess most of it is in the strength of your fingers, and if you leave it too long, that kind of goes. But I feel like, yeah, I've still got the ability that I've got to, but I didn't really know where I could take it, but I still play it sometimes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And your dad wanted you to play guitar. Is he a guitar player?
Yeah. Not really. Like, he can kind of play chords, but he's a massive Bob Dylan fan and always has been, like the biggest Bob Dylan fan. Like, every time Bob Dylan's ever come here, he's gone to every show. And I used to go with him as a kid. So my dad just was like, music, you have to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he wanted you to play guitar. That's interesting. But was it just classical guitar was the only thing that was offered? Because obviously Bob Dylan is the singer-songwriter, chords and all that.
Yeah, most people did like piano and violin, but I think my dad was like, no, guitar, like that'd be really cool. And I'm glad, like, if I hadn't have learned from so young, I don't think I would be like as good as I am technically. Like, a lot of what I do is just technical skill that I've had for a really long time. So it's definitely been a benefit, for sure.
Sure. With that, did you I mean, like, it's so cool that you could learn classical guitar that young and school. Like, for me, it's like, I feel like in our schools, it was like, you could pick the clarinet or the flute or the trumpet or the saxophone. Like, they didn't have like guitar and piano were not, I think you could get violin maybe, but guitar and piano are not a thing that they would allow you to learn, especially at that age.
Oh, really? Oh, here, everyone.
You said 5?
Does something. Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe it's just my school, but I feel like most people here learn an instrument, like, and most people give it up after like 3 years.
Oh, sure.
But yeah.
But to learn, I mean, how at 5, I have a 6-year-old son, he's in 1st grade, and I don't see how he can get his hand around like a classical guitar. I mean, the neck is thick.
They make little ones.
But I mean, to have that, I don't know, the brain to kind of learn that is just bizarre to me. Not bizarre, but I guess like it's crazy.
For a long time. Yeah, it took me, I think for maybe like 2 years I was really awful because it took a while. But yeah, like you can buy like half size or quarter size guitars. So I had like a quarter size, and then I had a senorita, which is seen as like a lady's guitar. It's like a small full size, and then obviously I got a full size because I'm now fully grown. But yeah,
A fully grown lady.
fully grown lady now.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
cool. And then you went to school. You went to a very difficult school to get into, a musical school, right? Or like
I
an art
did.
school. But before that, I'm curious, like, so the was it like an elementary school and then to like what, like a primary the primary school you went to, did it go up
Yeah.
to was the next school you went to that BRIT school?
No, so like in the UK, you go to primary school. This is like, so if you go to like private school, it's a bit different, but like the
Okay.
normal school that like the free school is normally you go to primary school from 5 till 11, and then you go to secondary school, which is 11 till 16. And then most people stay at that school for college, or they go to a specialized college at 16 to do 2 years of like A levels. But I did a really weird thing. So I went from primary school to like a normal secondary school, but then the BRIT school that I went to, you can apply at 14 or 16 for college, but you can also apply at 14, which is like a bit early. So I only did 3 years at this school, and then I went to BRIT school, which is a bit weird.
Wow.
Like most people don't leave school at that age. It's a bit weird.
Yeah. And were you still playing classical guitar at this point? Like, and then what made
I
you want to
was,
go
yeah.
to, like, tell me about going there. I mean, we talked a lot about it last time, but I didn't ask you like what made you decide like you wanted to even attempt to go there. Were you playing classical guitar in your
Yeah,
secondary
so
school?
I've been always like learning it kind of up until I was like 16 or 17, because there's like 8 grades and I did all the grades, and then I kind of stopped learning it.
Okay.
But yeah, I was still doing it. But I was also doing musical theatre like from a really young age. I was doing like shows and stuff. So I was singing and I was playing classical guitar. And then when I was like 11 or 12, I saw Taylor Swift like playing guitar and singing her songs. I was like, wow, I want to do that. Like I play guitar, I like singing. So I tried like
So then
writing
you had to
songs
learn
and stuff.
chords, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
so
a
I had to learn chords.
different
It's
beast.
a whole different guitar.
But how
Yeah,
easy was it?
literally.
I'm sure the chords would took you what, like 10 minutes to figure it out, and you're like, okay, I'm good to
It was
go.
different because I'd never strummed before. It was like the left
Oh.
hand was fine because I could do like chords and shapes, but I'd
Mhm.
never strummed a guitar. I'd always been like propped up like this, like playing with my
Oh,
fingertips. I'd never like
sure.
strummed properly. So I got my dad bought me like an acoustic guitar for my 11th birthday, and this Taylor Swift. It was like it was the chords to Fearless, but like an easy guitar book for Fearless, and it had all the little shapes and the diagrams. And honestly, I learned guitar to that book.
That's
Like I learned chords
awesome.
to that book. But yeah, so I started writing little songs and stuff, and then when I was 13, I started playing them at little shows around London, and then I was kind of doing it. So when it came to 14, and like I had a singing teacher at my musical theatre school who also taught singing at BRIT School, and she said to me, she was like, well, if you want to do it, like you should go to BRIT, you should audition. I was like, what is that? Like it was on the other side of London. I'd not really heard of it. I kind of knew of it. She's like, no, definitely. Like if you're serious about it, you should apply. So honestly, if that woman hadn't told me to do it, then I wouldn't have applied. I didn't know.
Oh, wow. Do you still keep in contact with her or no?
No, I don't know where she's gone. I wish I could tell her that I got in.
Yeah,
Like,
that's wild, right? I mean,
yeah.
you from what you told me before, it's like the amount, there's thousands upon thousands of people that apply to get into this school, and they pick like what, like 5 or something crazy like
Yeah,
that.
it's 25 a year per course in the whole
Wow.
country,
In the
which is a
whole
bit mad.
country.
Yeah.
And so do you go in wanting to be a songwriter, or like how did you get into school? Like what did you apply to? Like do you have to declare like I want to go in as a classical guitar player, I want to go in as a songwriter, I'm going to go in as a singer, and then is that part of it, or how did
there's like a music course, so I did music,
just
and then
generic?
There's like musical theatre, then there's
Okay.
acting and dancing. So it's for music kind of covers everything, but then within music you have people whose strengths, like there's some people whose strengths are just production, they don't really want to perform, they just want to produce, and there's people who like particularly are songwriters and don't perform, or people that are just performers and don't write, or just like just play one instrument and don't sing. Like it's a real mix of people. But yeah, I think the way that the qualification is structured, you kind of get to do a little bit of everything, but then that involves doing lots of things that might not be your forte. So, but it is good because you do get pushed. Like I did a whole production thing. Like I never went there to do production, but I did a whole like thing on production. So it's good because you get to find, if you don't know what your other strengths are yet, at least you get to try everything out and see. But yeah, no, I think it's good. I think now they've actually changed it, and I think there's a music course and a music tech course. I think that came in a few years after I left for the people that didn't like singing and just wanted to produce, that had to keep singing in these shows all the time. I didn't want to. So yeah, I think there's a music tech course now, but no.
Okay. And while you're there, that's when you released your first song, right?
Yeah, when I was 15, I think. Yeah.
Wow. And you did was that the one that you did a video for with other people that were at the school?
I did. There was a video. It was made by people that were at the school, and the people in it were people from the school, and all the musicians on the track were people that like were in my course. So it was kind of like I didn't know anyone else. Like, I just come from like normal school. I was like 14, so
right. I mean, to be that young, right? You're just gonna grab the people that you know.
Exactly, but they're all really good. So it's not like, oh, it didn't sound like rubbish, because everyone there, like, that's their talent. So
they had to get into that school. You're like, they're the one of the 25 that got in that year. Exactly. Even the people that like were on the filmmaking course, like they were so exceptional. Like 14, 15-year-olds like making this music video was just amazing. And yeah, for the first 2 or 3, I kind of just did them like that. I was just still in school, and it wasn't until I kind of left that I met anyone else. Until then, it was just people from school. So once you leave school, is it that your college? So you're done at what, like 18?
18, and then you can go on to university, which most people do, but I kind of feel like people that go to BRIT for music, you kind of don't, like, because you've just done the 4 years, and it's kind of like, if it's music, like, you don't need a degree to get a record deal. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it. So most of us just kind of have gone into the industry. I think it's maybe like, I think only like 5 people went to uni, and the rest of us have either gone into like being a performer, or they've gone into the industry, they're doing production or working in like a label or something. Like, we've all gone into something.
Wow. Yeah. Well, just some people that are, if people haven't heard this, haven't listened to the first interview, like the BRIT School you had Amy Winehouse, right? Adele went there, Rex Orange County.
Yeah, he was there when I was there.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was there when I was there as well.
That's wild, the talent that comes out of there. So you finish, and then you obviously you're like you just said, there's no real reason to go to a university to learn more than maybe if you wanted music. To be like at a, and join an orchestra or something. Maybe I have no idea. So
some people went to study jazz, like, because jazz, you need to know things. But
right.
Otherwise,
So when you're done, then what is it? You're like, okay, I finished the BRIT School. Now what?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do from that point?
It was kind of, so I'd already been doing it. Like, obviously I started young, so I kind of had enough going outside schools that I was doing like 1 gig a week at least at that time, like a few little shows here and there. Like, I kind of put out a couple songs, so I'd done a little bit, but nowhere near like full-time career at all. But I knew that I wanted to, and then I finished school in like the May, and then by November, like that whole summer was just like, it was really fun. But I think by November I was thinking like, like maybe I should have gone uni. Like, I haven't got any money. I don't know what I'm doing, but but then I think, like by the January, I put out a song called This Feeling, and it was the first release that I took seriously, and I like had PR on it, and I put like budget, and like, because I'd earned a bit of money and saved over the summer, and I think from that it kind of just picked up, and it's just become more and more and more since. But obviously it's taken time to build anywhere to a point where it's like a successful full-time job. But yeah, the first sort of 8 months were slow. For sure.
And like, so you put that song out, and then didn't you put something out like right as the pandemic hit, or like right before it hit?
Yeah, I did.
Remember, like in April or something, or like March. I can't remember what you told me.
Oh yeah, no, literally I had an EP coming. I did the 2 singles like right before, and then the EP itself came out like April the 14th or 15th or something of 2020, which actually was kind of, if I was going to release an EP in the pandemic, that was the best time, because that was when everyone was so into like online and like doing things from home.
That was Naked, right? That was that EP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that comes out
at the right time.
Okay.
I think so.
So when you put that out, it was like, did you consider not putting it out then, or you didn't?
Yeah, we had a call like with the label, like my team and everyone. We were like, oh, should we just wait? And I was just kind of like, I don't know, like how long could we be waiting? Like, and I'm glad we didn't wait, because if we'd have waited, like it would have been 2 years. And also like, it was better I got it out at the start of the pandemic than later when I had like way less money, and like people were a bit bored of being at home and being online. And I feel like it was at the right time. If I was going to release in the pandemic, it had to be that month, I think.
Okay. So you put it out, and then and what goes on after that? It's just your stint. Now you're at home. You're like, okay, the thing is done. It's out, and now I can't. Like, you couldn't go out and support it, right? Like tour it or
No,
like go
yeah,
out and play.
that was sad because I had to like move this big show that I had. I was going to go to LA and do like 2 weeks in LA. I had little shows and things to do, and I couldn't do that, and like loads of little show dates. And it's like I was sad because obviously I'd really got excited. I'd never played these songs live deliberately so that I could make a massive thing of playing them live once it come out. And I was sad that I couldn't, but I actually think like having that experience of releasing in the pandemic when the entire like promotional everything is online, like it taught me so much about online and like promoting online, and I learned a lot that I still use now. Like, so actually I'm kind of glad because my old attitude used to be just like, oh, put it out, like get campaigns on it and then go and do loads of things in person and get people to see. But then I never really realized the power of online. So I think I learned something from that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And then when we spoke, you had just released, I think, Medicine Boy, like, or maybe,
Yeah.
so that was like, so this EP that you released just like not like a couple of weeks ago, right? On the 23rd of September.
23rd, yeah.
Yeah, that's my birthday. So I was like, okay, I got this.
No way. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. So were all these songs written around the same time period? Like,
yeah,
because we spoke, like I said, like in August of last year.
Yeah, I think all of them were written in 2020, but I didn't finish all of them off until like 2021 or a bit later. But they were all written that year. And I think that's the kind of the thing is like I write all these songs, I'm like, that's an EP. And I'm like, okay, that's what's going to be next. But obviously now I've got like the next two ready to go. And I bet by the time I get to those, I'll be like, oh, I'm so bored of these. What's next? Like I've always got more stuff coming. But then you have to remember, like, just because something's new doesn't mean it has to replace something else. So I still have to put the stuff out that I want to put out because it is good. Just because it's old to me doesn't mean it's bad. It's still new to everyone else. Like,
yeah. Like, I mean, I just listened to Heaven for the first time and I'm like, damn, like this song's really good. And you probably like wrote that. And I think you wrote that one from what I read, like a quote of yours, it was like during lockdown that you wrote the song, right?
Yeah. And to me, that's such an old song. And I'm like, oh, like that's such an old song. But obviously it's not old to anybody other than me. So I have to remember that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk to me about this EP. You have, Medicine Boy was released and then you kind of rolled it out and then it finally just came. I think you did a few singles off of it, or
yeah, I did 3, and Heaven was like the focus track of it.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. So it comes out, like, what was it like? It must have been a big day. Like the 23rd did you do something as for the release and everything?
I get so like stressed about everything. I kind of feel like I don't really let myself enjoy anything because also like it's great when something comes out, like there's a relief that it's come out and it's successfully come out, but then I kind of feel like once it's come out the work starts because all the campaigns and everyone that I've got on board, what they do essentially kicks off the day it comes out. So then it's like I'm in the middle now of the 6 weeks of like doing interviews and promoting and doing like there's so much. I really enjoy this bit because it's like it's out, so it's all fun and exciting, but it's still a lot of stuff coming in and there's always like certain targets and people and things that I want to hit and reach out to and get, and yeah, that's when the work begins. So I feel like I can't really relax until all the campaigns are over.
Sure.
Yeah.
With this EP, like and writing it during obviously the lockdown and everything, first off, was it hard to get inspiration during that time period? I mean, you had just released an EP and then it's like, okay, now we have all this time to sit around inside. How quickly did you start working on these songs that just came out on this EP?
Yes. So in the UK, we weren't allowed to go anywhere for a long time. And then it came to a point where you're allowed to go to people's houses and do things if it was for work. So sessions are technically work, and most of these people are at studios anyway. So I was going to sessions and studios still when we were in lockdown, but because it was work, it was fine. And I think just that sort of, however, I can't actually remember how long it was. It could have been 2 months where we couldn't go anywhere. Nothing had really happened other than I had time to think. And I think having that time sort of for the first time, because again, like, I've been doing this since I was like 15. I never really stopped and thought about who I am or what I'm doing or like anything, or really even just appreciated stuff like family. And like, it was always just music. I never really appreciated anything else. So that time, I just feel like I grew up so much. And I'm actually like really grateful for that period in my life, because I think I did grow up and it made me maybe a more appreciative, less sort of stressed person, because I kind of put things into perspective and I didn't let things hurt me so much they used to. And it's changed my whole attitude to just life and work and everything. Like, so kind of all the songs are about things that either happened in lockdown or around lockdown, but like Heaven in particular is about just what I just said, like my growing up of that year.
Yeah, I love it. And you have like it's like it sounds like kids talking in the beginning, like little voices in the beginning. And like tell me about, like, how did you get that part? Like just kind of break down the song for me. I think it's such a cool song.
Yeah, so thank you. That was a little idea. That was actually an idea of my producer, because I think he said to me, because I wrote all the lyrics. We wrote the melody together, but I always just go on my own, like do all the lyrics and like these are the lyrics. And then he was just like, what's it about? Like he was like, I can kind of tell, but like you tell me what it's about. So I told him literally what I just told you, and he was like, okay. So he was like, what are you thinking for like? So I planned this like so far back. He was like, what are you thinking for like the video? Is there going to be a video? What would be in the video? And I was like, I don't know, like maybe something of me when I was younger, like something like that, like home movies, which is literally what it is.
It is. Okay, I want to hear about this.
Yeah,
cool.
So yeah, the video that comes out on Thursday is just like little home movies and clips of me. So that's just kind of like the little audio bits. It's just like kids, and yeah, I think it's just because the idea happened so long ago. I kind of I've had it so long, but I knew the 4 pictures that are the EP cover. I found them a while ago. Yeah, that is me.
Okay, I thought so.
I found it like in a photo album, and it was just like 4 consecutive pictures. It was just like the first one I was smiling, and then every time I turned the page, I just like got sadder and sadder until I was crying. I remember I first saw it, I thought it was really funny. I was like, that's really funny. It's so typical me. Like my emotions are just like, hey. But I was like, that's really cool. Like my friend actually came up with the idea. He was like, why don't you put the 4? And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. So that's kind of how the whole thing's come together. I think it's just kind of, it's all worked. It all fits with the theme, but yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. I noticed that because it's like you're smiling, and it's kind of like, and then you're crying. Like, yeah. I wasn't sure if that's, so it was just 4 consecutive photos that you had seen. So somebody was just like, like I kind of going through, like you sitting in the same seat. What's the video like? Were you able to find these home movies? Like, was that a kind of a fun trip down memory lane finding those?
It really, really was. Like, we knew we had them because my dad had filmed everything on like a film camera like back then, and then he'd put them on like a disc, but the way that they were put on a disc was in the same file format that they were on the video camera, so like you can't really do anything with it other than know that they're on there. And so I sent them to my friend who actually made the music video in the end, and I was like, I have these 5 videos, they're all 10 minutes long. I don't really know, I can't see what any of them are. Like, can you convert them and send them back to me? And so he did, and I was like, wow. So I've seen all these videos, and now I've got them as MP4 so I can actually watch them, and then we cut them up and made the music video. So it's kind of a bit crazy.
Like, do you, so from the video, like, were there particular parts that you're like, okay, I want to use this? Like, were you able to go through and kind of skim it to see what you wanted to use, or did you just leave that up to your friend?
A bit of both. I told him bits not to use, like certain people that we'd like fallen out with.
Okay, like don't use this person.
I was like, don't use this person, they'll get annoyed. But yeah, like I kind of just said, use whatever you think. Like, I don't know, because I feel like I was cringing at the video so much because I'm just like, oh, I was so embarrassing. But other people wouldn't cringe. It's just because it was me. Do you know what I mean? So I was I'll let him pick, because he's not me. He's not going to cringe. He's going to approach this as some kid and just pick the best bits. So I just let him do it. Because I couldn't watch myself like singing as a 4-year-old. I was like, I don't like it.
Oh, do you use audio from that, or no? Is it just
no? But watching it and like seeing me like dancing around the room, I was just like, I can't watch that. It's so cringy.
Have your parents had a chance to see the video?
Yeah, they have. My dad cried. He said it was beautiful.
Oh, that's cool. That is really cool. Especially, he must be so proud. I mean, he's the one that wanted you to play guitar, and then you get into this, the BRIT School. It's this huge deal, and then, now that's what you're doing with your life. Yeah,
I think he really is. This would be 10 years I've done my career. So I had a party in the summer to celebrate 10 years, and I invited loads of people that I had worked with over the last 10 years, or just friends, and they all came to our house this summer, and my dad did a speech, and it's kind of the first time he's really ever, like, obviously I know he's proud of me and he's always saying, but he's never sort of said it because we don't say that to each other, but He did a speech about like how he'd always hoped that I would, but was never going to force me, because he's like, he didn't think it'd be right to force me, but he always hoped that I would be good. Like, if I wasn't good, he wouldn't have pushed it. He was like, yeah, I always hoped that you would do music, and I always hoped that when you like left. Oh, sorry.
Oh, good.
My headphones out. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, he always said like he hoped that when I left school, I'd actually take it seriously and like work hard, because it's like half of it's talent, and half of it's like actually having the work ethic to just dedicate your life to some like random venture that literally no one's telling you to do other than you. Like,
Yeah, and there's no like guarantees, right?
no,
I mean, it's
nothing.
so, and it's
No,
all
nothing.
just based off of people's perception or like their
Basically.
opinions of, yeah.
Yeah, and even like on the day to day, like every day I wake up, no one tells me I have to do work today, or I like. It's not like if I don't do work, I might lose my job. Like, it's just if I want to do well, I have to do well because I have to work hard, and no one's telling me to. It's kind of like it's a mindset you have to develop, but I think I've got it. It's quite intense though. Like I feel bad if I give myself like one day off. I feel so bad. I'm like, this is the reason that you're gonna fail. Like, you took that day off. It's
blame it on that day off.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. So yeah.
You said you're in a musical theater. Are you in a musical right now? Like, where are you? What are you working on?
Really randomly, I'm just helping out with the show that it's part of a company that I do actual shows for, but they were doing a show in this other area and they were missing a musical director, and they were like, we need one last minute because the show's in like 2 weeks, and then musical director dropped out. I was like, okay, I'll step in. So that's literally just what I'm doing. It's really random.
Oh wow. Wait, yeah. Is it for like your musical director? Was it for a play or what's it for?
It's for High School Musical on stage.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I love it.
Were you a fan of High School Musical?
I was, yeah, as a kid, massive. I know it inside out. That's why this is so easy. I was like, I don't even need to learn anything. I could just teach these kids. I know all the words.
There you go. That's amazing. And then you said you had a bunch of music out. You got 2 more EPs of music ready to go.
Yeah, I've got a single that I'm going to do in January of this song that basically, it's not what's going to it, but I fell out with my best friend like this summer, and that's kind of been the only thing I've written about for like 4 months. I've not written about anything else, but there's one song in particular I just really want to get it out. I think it's musically it's really current, production's really current, and also just like while I'm still feeling that, I want it to come out because I always leave things so long. I just want to have something that's new come out, but then I'll go back to the stuff that I wrote a year ago, putting that out.
Are you nervous how this person's going to respond?
Or do you not? I don't think it's not a mean song. It's more of like she's not apologized, and I've really, really asked her to, and I've really wanted her to, and I've said to her like ultimately like if you apologize, we can talk, and she just won't. So I feel like it's not the way that the situation is. It's kind of like, well, that's on her, it's not on me. So I could write a song about it and put it out.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah. So something happened. She was in the wrong. She won't acknowledge it, and then
basically, yeah.
Oh man. Well, hopefully she comes around. If not, I mean, at least you have a great song out of it.
Yeah, I've got a few. So maybe like 3.
Oh, really there you go. So, yeah. And if it happens before January, you can be like, "See, I mean, sorry, but it's out now. You had time. You had time."
I think part of her, like, even if she's a bit like, "How do you put a song out?" I think part of her will be like, oh, there's a song about me.
Right, a little narcissism behind that, like, but it's about me. She was thinking of me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would be the same if someone put a song out about me, even if it was mean. I'd be like, yeah, well, it's about me.
Digging into your inner Taylor Swift from that concert.
Yeah.
That's funny.
100%. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time again, Natalie. Thank you so much for doing this again. I have one more question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists, and then I'll let you get back to directing the High School Musical.
The High School Musical. Yeah, I kind of always give this a bit of advice, and it's kind of once you've started doing things, bit of advice, but it's something that's always stuck with me. And like the further I get, the more it like I get angry about it. There was like a massive period of time where when I was starting out and I was playing guitar. And loads of people were like, don't play guitar, like you won't get anywhere playing guitar, like no one's into that, like drop the guitar, just like how do you look without a guitar? It used to make me upset because I was always like, well, like it's part of it, like it's part of my performance. I kind of feel like I wrote it on the guitar, certain songs need to be performed on the guitar, and whether I'm doing it on every song, it's still part of like what I'm doing. And it always really like upset me, and I was always like, well, I don't want to do it if I can't play guitar. And now that guitar is like trendy and cool, everyone's doing it, it's like everyone's like, oh, it's so great that you play guitar. And I think the main thing I took from that is like, if there's something that you think is part of your artistry and it's part of you, and just stick with it. Like, don't, unless it's a bad thing, like just stick with it, because trends change and things change, and some people might like it, some people might not. And I just think it's just a massive thing. Like, don't let other people like pick apart your artistry, because that's what makes you you. Do you know what I mean?
No, sure.
Yeah, so that's my bit of advice.
I love it.
Yeah. If you think something's important to you and somebody tells you like don't do that because it's not like a trend or whatever, then it doesn't matter because that trend will probably come back and then you'll be cool.